Hi everybody, I'm going to be talking about Larissa Lai, novelist, poet. She was a UBC graduate and then later a UBC professor, and she now teaches at the University of Burnaby. I'll be talking about her first novel, When Foxes a Thousand, originally published in 1995. I especially like this novel because it takes realistic fiction and mixes it in with the Chinese folklore of the fox. And I think that this produces very interesting magical realism. So the story is actually narrated by 3 separate narrators in different chapters. You have Artemis Wong. She lives in contemporary Vancouver, Chinese Canadian, living a fairly regular life. Sort of, if the story was all about her, I would say it would be realistic fiction. Then we actually have a few chapters about Yu Xuanxi, who was was based off of a real person who lived in 9th century China. And then the character that unites those two and takes us across the timeline is the fox, which comes from Chinese folklore and is a shapeshifter who can shapeshift into the form of women and also lives eternally. So the book is called When Foxes a Thousand, and it talks about this fox as she gets closer to turning 1,000. So I really like the situations when the fox interacts with Artemis. I feel like the fox brings elements of fantasy in what would otherwise be considered realistic fiction into Artemis's life. So I'm going to read a little section from when the fox is meddling in Artemis's life, trying to break her up from her girlfriend. And this is one of the fox's tricks. Okay, this is page 187. I stole an old dress from Cloud's mother. It was pale orange with splashes of red hibiscus. In the dead of night, I broke into the Value Village and slipped the dress between an awful gold lame number and a gossamer thin white cotton dress that swept the floor. In the morning, I followed Artemis through her day, making sure that she stumbled across it in the early afternoon. Cloud gave Artemis a strange look when she appeared on her doorstep in the dress later that evening. Of course, it had been 15 years since she had last seen it, so she couldn't figure out why it seemed so familiar. Nevertheless, it made her uneasy, and she squirmed all the way through Thelma and Louise. I'm not sure if you can tell, the fox used some persuasion, some sort of interference in Artemis's life that otherwise wouldn't be there. It had an effect on her life, and it's an example of bringing magic into what is otherwise a very normal life. So I call this magical realism, and I want to ask the class how they consider magical realism to be different from fantasy and different from realistic fiction, and how it sort of melds the two together, bridges them, and then what unique elements come out from magical realism, what it produces that is unique to other styles. Okay, thank you.